Welcome back to the Extra Kick. It is episode 4. It's been a little while since we last met. I'm Ashley Anderson, now in Louisville, Kentucky, not Houston anymore. I'm a little sad about it, but the games are over in Houston, and we have Donald Wine, who is not in Seattle, not in Vancouver, not in LA, not in DC, though. He's in Dallas. Good to have you, Donald.
It's good to be here. You're drinking. I'm drinking Powerade because we got to rehydrate after this whole tournament, and we're still not done.
Right, I'm drinking tea in one of my favorite mugs, little Kermit, but that's none of my business.
Uh-huh.
And I'm drinking tea because, well, yesterday I had a commercial shoot in Columbus, Ohio, so I was out of Louisville, but I had to wake up at 3:30 in the morning and I had a 6-hour round trip drive after a 10 and a half hour shoot. So I'm tired. So I need
I
some.
believe you. I mean, it's been. I got home from Seattle on what it was 2 days ago, Wednesday. I'm trying to get days of the week back in my life. Wednesday, I got back Wednesday on a red eye, and then turned around and came down to Dallas on Thursday morning. So I saw home. My apartment's still there. I got to pay rent for it today. But other than that, it exists. It's still standing. And I'm back down here for a family reunion and get to watch the games from TV from now on.
And we're going to keep it kind of short today because we do have Spain and Belgium playing in about, let me do the math here, 17 minutes. And
Yeah.
obviously a little bittersweet here. We'll talk about that Belgium game in a second. But I wanted to start off on the positive because, Donald, you were there for the entire journey, start to finish with the US. And I do feel like you could see in the energy of this being an event that was in North America that soccer, I mean, it's taking center stage. So, from your perspective, what has the U.S. done for soccer and team? Well, the U.S. men's, I was going to say Team USA. I know you're not supposed to say that. The U.S. men's national team.
I mean, look, the ride was a blast. I know it ended in a way that we didn't like, and I'm going to talk about it a lot more on other mediums, articles, podcasts, and things like that. And we have plenty of time to dissect that. But the actual ride was so much fun. To be a part of it, to go to every game, and to see kind of the groundswell of sport build was incredible. And to see people who have been building for this for longer than 8 years, right? We got the word that we were getting this World Cup 8 years ago. Some of us have been working longer than that to get to this moment. So it was great to see people like that to take center stage and also just be able to enjoy it, but also the new people who were introduced to this game just like we were. A lot of us were introduced to soccer through the 94 World Cup. So for people to get that same introduction 32 years later is awesome. And I hope that we can build from that, whether it's kids, whether it's grown-ups who are taking a kind to the game and watching these games. And Ashley, I know you saw some great games down in Houston. This tournament's been incredible. Just the action on the field has been so much fun. That is what's going to really be the legacy of this tournament, is that these games, while we had so many more of them, they weren't dull. They were all a lot of fun, and we still got a few more to go before we crown a champion.
So the big theme was why not us with the
Hmm.
US. And it did feel like maybe this was the best team we had seen in a World Cup, at least in a very long time from my memory, as someone who's not necessarily a soccer fan first and foremost. But then things didn't look great against Belgium. I've seen some theories, I've seen people pointing the finger, and there might be some validity here that there was a lot of distraction because
Hmm.
the red card being suspended and maybe some collusion or talks of collusion going on politically. Now, whether or not that affected the US, I don't know. Will we ever know? But what do you think was going on against Belgium? Because it just didn't look like the same team we had seen the whole tournament.
It wasn't. And, there's times where guys have bad performances in a tournament. It's sometimes you get them all at once. And that was the Belgium game. And I still remember, they took the lead early. And even then it was like, okay, this isn't good. We're not looking great, but we can get out of this little funk that we have. And when Malik Tillman hits the free kick, his second free kick in as many games, we're going insane in the stands. We're like, okay, we're back. We got our mojo back. We got our momentum. I think the backbreaker was only having that momentum for 61 seconds because Belgium scores really quickly off the restart. And at that point, you're like, okay, that was a gut punch. And I don't know how these guys build back from that. There were still times, but there was just a lot of mistakes being made. Some of the things that they were doing well during the tournament weren't really, getting there in the Belgium game. And Belgium's a great team. They beat us, they thumped us back in March, and they hadn't been playing well. They rested a few of their main stars, and then when those guys subbed on to the into the game, you're like, okay, that was the moment. We had a chance to get back into it, but now their stars are on the field, and guys like Lukaku ended up doing damage in the very quick time they were in the field. So, yeah, there will be again a lot more to kind of dissect, but that's the short of it is it wasn't our best day. It was actually our worst performance of the tournament. Everyone it felt like had it at the same time. That's a recipe for disaster.
I will say, in spite the loss, and it was very deflating from where I was watching, but I went to Saints, which is really the American Outlaws official bar, I would say, in Louisville. And I got the chance to meet AO Houston and go to their official bar when I was in Houston, which is, I'm already blanking on it. It's on Westheimer. I feel like I actually know
Phoenix,
neighborhoods
the
in
Phoenix, yeah.
the Phoenix on Westheimer, yes. And so I was at Saints. It was packed. I got there super early, like at the very end of the Portugal game, which they lost, and I had worn my Portugal shirt from having two matches when I was in Houston with Portugal. But yeah, not a great day overall for the teams I was pulling for, but the atmosphere was just, I mean, the best you could possibly hope for the US and for all the people that were supporting the US. It felt like I mean, it matched what I saw in Houston with AO Houston, but Saints is always, it's always been a place where if you want to watch soccer, you go to Saints in Louisville. And I feel like the people I was with, and Brian Davis was there, the people I was with, yeah, we were all really disappointed, but it was still so much fun just being in that atmosphere with so many people all cheering for the same team. I don't think there was anyone there cheering for Belgium, I would
hmm
guess. So,
I mean, look, they just got the final numbers in for TV viewing, and it was 50.1 million viewers. That is the largest non-NFL sporting event ever, ever. So to say that soccer has arrived, I don't even think you can say that. Soccer's been here. We just needed the catalyst to get people united to watch together. That was this run that this team did, and sure, it ended with a dud, but at least hopefully you can say, hey, 50 million people at least had some interest in this team being good. What does that say for the program? What does that say for the women's team who are next up? They got the Women's World Cup next summer. And so people are starting to get excited about that now that this is starting to edge towards the rear view. There's a lot of potential here, and it's on everyone, right? It's on US Soccer, it's on FIFA, it's on all of the major, Major League Soccer and NWSL to try and capture those people and say, hey, you don't have to come back in 4 years. You can come back next weekend because soccer still continues. That's the real message for people who try to see a winner and ended up seeing a dud is, hey, there's going to be more of these days, and you don't have to wait 4 years to have that you feel that euphoria that we felt for the better part of a month.
I wrote a little song to remind you Choice Hotels get you more of the experiences you value. The Cambria Hotel's got it all. A rooftop bar, have a ball. Bring a date, your squad, or even your mom. Book direct at choicehotels.com.
So now we do have some teams still left to play, including we talked about Spain and Belgium. Tomorrow we've got a big one with Norway and England, and I'm planning to try to go out and watch that because we definitely have bars here that bring in the England fans and even some of our supporter groups here for our USL. I'm too
Yeah.
tired. What is it called? Wait, I'm thinking of. We also have a not minor league, but you know what I'm talking
Oh
about.
yeah, USL, the Louisville City,
Oh,
and yeah.
yeah, but we also just got the football team that just won. So yeah, my brain is broken. But anyway, Louisville City. So we have Scous's house, which he's from England. So I know he's gonna have a big group out watching the game tomorrow. But France won yesterday, and I feel
hmm
my gut has just said this whole time that France is gonna win the whole thing. But it's not fun to pull for the favorite. So I know we talked about this before, who to look out for. The way that Argentina keeps winning, it's kind of pissing me off personally, but I think there's some magic there. Is this setting up for Messi?
I mean, look, I think looking at France yesterday, it took them a while, but and Morocco's a really, really good team. They would have been the Cinderella left, right? You have Norway and Switzerland. Norway's probably the nicest one because they have Erling Haaland, and he can do damage. But I told some people this. France is like a cobra, right? They're just lying in the weeds. They're just chilling. They may, just be minding their own business, and all of a sudden, bam, a goal, bam, another goal, and they strike very quickly, and they strike with fear, with deadly intentions. And so to see like, you know, they're holding on, Morocco's holding on, and all of a sudden it's Kylian Mbappe scores, Ousmane Dembele scores, two of the best players on the planet. It's hard to beat that. And so it looks like it's a crash course for Argentina versus France again in the final. I'm hoping Mbappe would get the better end of it this time around, but uh, I feel like the magic that Argentina has, I'm like with you, like sometimes it's magic and sometimes it's, hey, things are setting up a little too easy here for them to kind of walk in and do things. So yeah, there's been some controversial calls on those sides, but France had one yesterday as well. They overcame it and ended up winning. So this tournament is still wide open. You still have like again, Norway, Switzerland is the one team that no one's really talking about, but I feel like everyone's going to be pulling for them against Argentina.
I do think too, when I was listening to podcasts before the World Cup to try to get ready before Houston, I know there was one podcast where I forget who it was. They predicted that England actually would officially, or not officially, but finally win the World Cup again. And I could get behind England. I will say the one team, I don't know, call me a hater. I just am not pulling for Argentina, but I'm okay with France. I like their team. I like the players on their team, and they really just look like the best. And hey, I'm a Patriots fan, so you know what? I am someone that tends to pull for dynasties. Can we call France a dynasty? Are they getting there?
They're the only one. If Argentina wins, then sure, you call them a dynasty. But if France wins, it's the third time they would have gotten to a final, and the second time they would have won it in three tournaments. I mean, those two are the closest things we have to a budding dynasty. And so, and just with how young some of the French players are, like their captain is 27, is tied for the lead all time in World Cup goals, and could have a second World Cup title in just over a week. That's legendary status there. We're talking stratospheric stuff here. So and he's not the only guy, right? Dembele and all these guys are like 27 and younger. So these guys can really be a full generation worth of talent, just never seeing anything but finals for the next 10 years. And that just scare the rest of the world. But it's also very, very fun to watch.
So to wrap up this episode before we get to that game today, that match today, look at me, I'm already going back like I'm NFL again. It's just ingrained in my brain.
Match game, we're about to watch some magic, so it's going to be fun.
To wrap up, I was going to say though, so for me, I would say that I got to end on a fun note with Morocco beating Canada, and I thought Morocco's fans, they had so much really positive, good energy. I had that last 2 minutes of stoppage time with a fan from Morocco. She was predicting that win over France. It didn't quite come to fruition, but I just loved how passionate she was and happy for her team, and it was her first World Cup experience. I was curious, from all the different places you went to watch all these matches, was there a country that their fans really surprised you, or you just really enjoyed being around them?
The Egyptian fans were one that surprised me because I hadn't seen them up close. To see them in Vancouver was really, really fun. Croatia, Ghana, we've had interactions with Ghana. They're a lot of fun. But I would say still that the Japanese fans are the best that I have encountered, at least in person. Third straight World Cup, men's World Cup, seeing Japan play, and their fans are just very, very special. They're very fun. They're boisterous the whole game. The trash pickup is people point to that as their tradition, but their tradition is just trying to be excellent in the stands and on the field, and it's just fun to be a part of those atmospheres when they're around. The orange bus was cool, but if I'm gonna say number one for me that I saw were the Japanese, and hopefully, they exited a little too quickly as well. So hopefully, they're not taking the sting has been removed from them, and they're ready to get back to it, because we love seeing it at the World Cup.
I guess we had some overlap there because I had Japan. I also had
Hmm.
Netherlands when I was in Houston. So it's pretty cool that we got to see maybe we had some of the same fans. And
Yeah. Oh, for sure. For sure.
Yeah. Well, I guess we probably should meet and do something at least before, the semifinals and the final. But yeah, we're back to the real world now, which is not as fun as our little break with the World Cup. Because I mean, I got to live in Houston for a month. You got to pretty much live all over the US and even go up to Canada. So you were living the life too. And
I was told never to chase reality, and somehow reality caught up with me. So I don't like that. So I guess we're just gonna stare reality in the face for a few days.
all right, well, we will be back sometime soon as we navigate the real world once again from our respective current homes. Mine might change soon. We'll see. But anyway, this is episode 4 of The Extra Kick.